Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Awakened Patriot. I'm Mandy. I have my special guest, the Liberty Warrior, Mike.
Good morning, everyone.
We're figuring out how to run all this junk. Yeah, see, it's not letting me post it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody this morning? I hope everybody slept well. Things are kind of crazy. I did. I slept like a rock.
Yeah, I was like a rock last night. I was out.
Yeah, I'm very blessed in that world that I sleep well. I sleep very hard.
I got all this fuzzy stuff in the back, but it's annoying me. All right.
Annoyed? Yeah, so I don't know why I can social comments display here. Click on them to showcase on stream. Yeah.
You just got to roll with the technical difficulties. That's all I can
do.
tell.
I don't understand it. I don't understand.
I have them all the time, and I just whatever, you know.
Yeah, it just is. I wish there was a way that I could
I got all this fuzziness behind me, and it's driving me crazy.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
Yeah. It's in my OBS.
Whatever the hell that means. All right. Yeah. I don't understand all this stuff. It's just a lot. It's just a lot. It's not my life. It's not what I normally do.
It's definitely a lot.
Yeah, I have the lady who bought our old house. We still get mail that goes to her house.
Oh, yeah?
We've been out there 11 years. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning, Shane.
She still gets mail at her house for us, usually from, like, you know, the Treasury, you know, shit like that. And, well, I guess it's afternoon for DK Second Chin. So good afternoon. And so she calls me and lets me know when I get mail over there. And she is a huge Trump supporter. So I showed up there and she's like, it's Trump's birthday. She's very, very excited about it. She's such a sweet lady. She's such a sweet lady. And she said that she got a message that has the new site, the new social media stuff that Trump's supposed to be coming out with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've heard about that for a while.
Well, she sent me a link. I had to text it to my phone for her. I was like, I don't know what this is. I'll have to dig into it and see I don't know what it is. Georgia, very hot day already. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here. It's beautiful, beautiful.
I'm gonna have to play with this later. It's annoying me, but it is what it is. It's either the light. It looks like it's the light there. It's the light for some reason, but I got halos coming for the light, so should be able to remedy that problem here soon.
Right.
Good morning, DK. Good morning, Robert. How are you guys this morning?
Good morning, Robert. I got your email and watched as much of your video as I can before I got rudely interrupted every 5 seconds. And yeah, I would love to have you on and have a chat with you. Yeah, you guys were kind of right on the right path with what you guys were all talking about. I saw exactly what you were referring to in your email. And I think it's super awesome that you are building off the grid. I watch a lot of stuff about that.
Oh, Robert's building off the grid?
He is in the Redwoods.
Robert, You're
And
my new
Cali.
best friend. That's been my dream forever. I'm working on it. I'm not there yet, but I definitely it's in my package, my plan of purchasing my property and being 100% self-sufficient. So
Yeah, I've watched some stuff on that, and it's like, I mean, that would just be so cool. I mean, we kind of are, I mean, kind of around here. We're working on it. We finally just got water, so now I can actually grow things.
nice.
It's always a plus. That's been a shit show for a while. It's beautiful here in New Jersey. Blue Skies mom. Hi, Blue Skies mom. Never been to New Jersey. Have a friend that's from there, and he promised to take us on a tour, go that way. I've always wanted to see that
Nice.
area, New York and all of that. And the way the world is right now, it's like, yeah, I think I'll wait a little bit to see what the hell happens.
DK's in Georgia, it looks like.
Yep, Georgia.
So we got
Yep.
Georgia, we've got New
Very hot
Jersey.
today.
It's going to be warm here in North Dakota too. Probably over 80 today. It was nice to go to the pool yesterday with my son, and then I took my laptop, so I got to work while he was in the pool. So that was a lot of fun. So today's mission is to get a shave and a shower today before tonight's show. That's like my mission today.
You sound like a new mother.
It's just it's impossible to get everything done that needs to be done. So I ordered the t-shirts today. I ordered
The one saluting Mr. Shane.
Oh, the finger. So
The
yes,
finger.
I have ordered the finger. So the finger shirt is definitely in process, along with California, Oklahoma, and the original. Those are all in process. I should be getting templates back on that here soon, and then I'll post those on the webpage. And we could even do pre-orders if people are in a hurry to get some of those. They can pre-order, and I'll put that order in. So DK
Right.
says 90, but humid. It's crazy. Yeah, I bet.
See, I have a hard time of humidity. I have a hard time with humidity. I don't like it. My hair sure as hell don't like it. I've got curly hair.
We're used to the triple digits dry heat in Idaho. That's what we love. We love the hot, but you can lay under the shade tree or get in the lake and cool off, and you don't just sweat like crazy. It's that humidity is definitely hard for a guy like me to get used to, but people like DK and the rest of them, they may have been born and kind of raised in those areas, so maybe it's
of
not.
course. So if they come to our part of the woods, they're like feel like they're shriveling up like worms frying in the sun. I'm sure that's what it feels like.
How do you like that?
I love it. You've just been fingered by Shane. I love it.
So I ordered a dozen of those t-shirts. They'll be in the website soon, probably about 14 to 21 days. I only ordered 12 because I didn't know how popular they would be. So like I said, if people want to get on there when it's available and start pre-ordering, then I'll put in a major order for the finger. So that's one of our new t-shirts right there. We thought that was pretty funny.
That's awesome. I love it. I'm gonna have to have one. That's too funny. Yeah. So, oh my gosh. Oh, it's gonna be one of those days. I feel it. I have to go to work, and I hope to God it's a shit show.
It's gonna be a shit show.
Sometimes
always
it
a
gets
shit show.
intense. People are just happy to be out and get out and eat in a nice restaurant, and they're just so happy to. But God, sometimes people can be so rude. They just are so demanding and rude. Some are fantastic.
So do you feel when you're working, Mandy, that some people just don't appreciate your efforts, and that some people they don't care whether you're a good waiter or a bad waiter? do you feel like maybe some people really do appreciate your efforts? Because I'm the type of person, tip is determined on effort. So, and I watch and see, like, we went out to eat the other day, and our waitress, she had the effort, but they didn't have enough help for her. So she was trying to cover too many tables, but her effort was still there, and she tried her very best to take care of us. But I realized in watching her, it was impossible for her to give us the attention needed because she had too many tables. So I still gave her a really good tip because I knew that she wanted to. And then you get people who are unhappy when they show up and just don't care. And so obviously they don't get much of a tip from me, but yeah.
Right. I'm not to pat myself on the back, but I'm good at what I do. And on the days that I work, I run the floor myself. I have backup that definitely helps. Sometimes it gets so insane, crazy, busy that it's just hard to take care of people. I like to be able to take care of the people that are in there that are coming out to have a good dinner and take really good care of them. But sometimes, I mean, we have 2 entrances to it, one through the bar and one of our main entrances. And some people, we have people waiting for tables, and they've been there 20 minutes waiting for a table, and these people will sneak through the bar and just go take that table. So then I have to go and be like, get your ass out. These people have been waiting for 20 minutes. Like, are you kidding me? But most people are lovely. Most people are wonderful. But you know, I manage a team. I'm one of the supervisors there. So, you know, when shit hits the fan, then I have to stop and take care of all of that kind of stuff. And, you know, I work my ass off. I run my ass off and take really good care of everybody that's in there. I like to be able to connect and interact with the people that are in there and not treat them like they're, you know, just another customer. You know, hurry up, eat, shut up, move the hell on, because sometimes it gets so crazy busy in there that's sometimes how it goes, and I freaking hate that. I freaking hate that. It affects all of it. It affects everybody's moods. You know, it gets to be a little much. I had a table that came in, they reserved for a table of 15 and then brought in 30 people. How do you keep up with that? And they were loud and rude and unbelievably demanding. And I mean, I bet you I ran 10 miles in 2 hours.
Wow.
And they were just like, every move I made, it was just like, hey, I need, give. I finally went, time out. Y'all need to just slow your freaking roll for 5 seconds and let me take care of this. And then I'll be happy to take care of the rest of it. But I can only do so much. Jesus H.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
let's say good morning to Chrissy, and Roberto's in the chat too. Good morning, Roberto. Good morning, Chrissy. How are you guys this morning?
Hi, y'all. Good morning, Chrissy, the untainable. Yeah, no. So I love my job. I'm good at what I do. Sometimes it just gets so crazy in there because it's like one of the most successful restaurants in the valley, for sure. It's a sushi restaurant. You know, we don't have a lot of those.
I'm going to hit you with a question. With everything going on in the world right now, I know a lot of restaurants or a lot of places can't even keep good help because waiters and waitresses they make more money sitting at home collecting unemployment than actually out there working. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, you might want to look for a different restaurant job. I make really good money. Or you need to get better at your job. Yes, it's in our restaurant, it is very difficult for just hiring extended staff, like for, you know, the sushi rollers and things like that. You know, people don't want to work. They just don't want to work. They make more money sitting at home. So we definitely feel the pressure of it. Everybody else definitely feels the pressure of people not working. So in our restaurant, we've had to close one more day a week just to take the pressure off of everybody because everybody's so overworked. And it's kind of that way everywhere that I'm hearing, that everybody's like, almost all the restaurants there are that way, or they're, you know, closing down one extra day just because they got to give their staff a break, give them some room to breathe. Yeah, because people just don't want to work. They just don't. We're not getting applications in. People aren't looking for jobs. They're just not. They're just not. And that's because of I believe the state. It's shifting for Idaho because I'm on a border town. Things are shifting a little more on that level for our state, but I'm on border town, so we border Oregon. And that lovely woman, yeah, that's what she wants. She wants everybody to be milking off the system, for sure.
Absolutely. So here's another question for you for comment. I don't want to hear about how you feel about the vacation, whether you should or you shouldn't. That's not the question. The question is, as more people possibly take a vacation and states start opening up and relaxing restrictions and mandates, how do you feel about the government getting rid of the extra unemployment insurance to help maybe push people off those couches to get out there and apply at your restaurant and to get out there and get back in the work field? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's necessary. I think they have to get them back to work. They have to get people back there to work. Vacationed or not, it just has to be done. And in our state of Idaho, our governor has gotten rid of the assistance, the unemployment for everybody. He's gotten rid of that. So I think that's why things are shifting here. But I don't see that happening anytime soon for Oregon. And things are just weird. Like where we're at, like my job, we just pretty much said, we're not wearing them. This is over. We're done wearing the diapers. We're not doing it. And none of us do. And even some patrons come in that wear them, and you kind of, that's your choice. Do what you do. But most people are just like, thank God we don't have to. We never really did here in Idaho. We never, that was never really an issue. But I did have to go to a couple stores this weekend over in Oregon, and they were handed me a diaper. Here you go. You got to wear that to come in. I never put it on. I carried it in my hand and walked to the store, went and did what I did, and walked out, and walked right into the other one the exact same way. It was like, we're over it. It's already done. You don't get to go back. Be like, oh wait, we're gonna redo this. Not doing it. I'm just like, I'm done. You guys need to. And I was waiting for that moment to use Shepherd of the Forest statement that she said that I suffer from CFS. I was hoping that I could use that. Do you remember her saying that? The CFS? Yep. I can't wear one of those because I suffer from CFS. I don't know if any of the rest of you saw that, but CFS stands for common fucking sense. That's what I suffer from. So I'm not wearing them. Yeah, and I was waiting to get to use that. So Shepherd, you were in my heart and in my mind this weekend with that going, oh, just give me the opportunity to use that phrase because I'm going to use it. It's just weird. And it's almost like they're trying to backpedal a little bit. Like, oh, because I think everybody just went, we're not doing this and we're not wearing those anymore. Like everybody was just like freedom. And so it almost felt like they were kind of backpedaling a little bit because I didn't notice. Because when they did, it was a free-for-all. Nobody was wearing them. I mean, there was the few that did. And then it's been a while since I've been over there outside of work. And yeah, the two stores, they were required. And I was like, nope. The cage has been opened. We've been going to put us back in it. It's not happened. But there were people that were just like you think they would be, putting them on as they're walking in the store. And I just want to yell at people. When they first let it go, I remember we were in a Walmart and walked through there, and I was like, I'm not wearing one. And anybody that I saw in there that was not wearing one, I was like, rock on, stay strong. Do not ever put that thing back on your face. Don't ever do it. And when I was walking out, there was a couple, and the woman had freedom on her shirt. And she was starting to put it on, and I looked at her and said, don't do it. Don't do it. Do not do it. I said, they did not give us one raffle shit at all walking through here with that one. Do not do it. And she just lit up and smiled, and her and her husband both went, put it in their pockets. Like,
good for you and good for them.
Yeah, don't do it. Just stop doing it. And yeah, she was pretty delighted. She lit right up about it, and I was so happy to see that there's people that are waking up.
Let's stop for a second to say good morning to Dawn and Jersey Girl. Good morning.
Hi,
and
Dawn.
DK says extra unemployment benefits end in Georgia next week. Plus, requirement to actually look for a job to get benefits starts back too. Should help out for a lot of businesses. Absolutely, DK. Exactly. I'm glad that stuff's starting to roll back, because I think America needs to get back to work.
And I think that might be a requirement in Idaho, as if you have to be looking for a job, like it used to be when you were on unemployment. You know what I mean? Yeah, I completely. And Robert, I'm glad that you mentioned Newsom. He's ruined it, and he absolutely has. I heard a thing, was just a couple of days ago, that he's going to lift the diaper restrictions for the vacation, but the children still have to wear them. So that leads me into another. How many people on here, how many people are watching Madison Marquette? How many of you guys are watching Madison Marquette and Claire Hockey No-Cal? They're kind of all over the place right now. You can find them anywhere. She was sex trafficked for over 10 years. Anyone?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I know other people kind of tear that person down. I can't I can't put myself in someone else's shoes and say whether it's true or not true. I thought at one time, especially the Democrats, was pushing the whole what was it? Was it Me Too? What was the movement for women? Where if they were abused, you believed them first, and tried to help them with that. So I don't know. I don't know her enough to even comment. I haven't seen enough to comment. I think regardless of any woman has ever abused, or any person for that matter, it's very unfortunate, and I feel for them.
Her last name is Marquette, Marquette, I believe is how it's spelled. She's been on with Carmen, the Pastor Dragonfly, quite a bit. And I trust her for sure. And I was watching a thing. They were on the Michael Jaco show, the three of them, and I just thought it was super interesting that the diaper agenda on the littles, that is playing a big part in all of this child trafficking. Keep their faces hidden, can't see them, can't recognize them, can't identify them. And I just found it super interesting that Newsom is lifting those mandates, except for children. I just thought it was very interesting.
That's kind of strange to me. And I want to say good morning to Jeffrey. I want to say good morning to Jeffrey real quick from Kentucky, and good morning, Tim. Thank you for joining us. Let me tell you something. I know Pastor Dragonfly personally. Yes. I've had phone conversations with her. She's been on my show before. She is a beautiful woman, a beautiful soul. Yes, I think she is true. I think she is honest. and I won't allow anyone to tear her down, at least around me anyway. And regardless of who she has on her show, it's just like me. I have people come on my show too. One, it's for information and to get a different perspective. And so not everyone has to agree with the people that I have on my show. And not only that, but I like having different people come on to give it a different taste instead of the same old shit all the time. So I know that Dragonfly's been beat up a little bit about some of the guests that she's had on her show, but I know her personally, and I know she's a good woman, so I trust her fully. And the thing is she's just trying to help people. I have actually connected people that have been trafficked and abused to her, and she's got a lot of resources to help those people. So I just encourage people to keep an open mind, you know?
Yeah. And who am I to say, no, that did not happen? I mean, there's a lot of sick shit going on in the world.
DK's making a very valid point, and they're saying that the lady that testified over 100 tribunals with gag order, but named Flashbang. Absolutely, I don't know.
Yes,
I think that we should always look at everything and question everything, right? We've said that.
Right.
I'm not saying, again, I can't comment on the lady because I don't know and I haven't watched. So I can't comment on it, but anybody that throws accusations around, we should always question everything, period.
Oh, sure. Absolutely, you should. I just find them fascinating. I'm just listening to them, just like, if this shit is real, holy crap. It's just insanity. I just worry for the children and how this has all happened. And I think it's going on. The evils that be, they've been pulling their shit for a long, long time. And they hit it. They made their money through drug trafficking, guns, you know, that kind of shit. And I think that's why things are happening the way they're happening, is because they were doing it with children and humans. That's where the money's at. That's where the money's at. And it's just sick and twisted.
Tim's comment is, I seen her statement and I'm just skeptical about the tribunal part.
Right.
Yeah. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical about that as well.
So again, why do you think they're coming out now and saying that? I said, why do you think they're coming out now and saying that?
Well, my mind probably works different than a lot of people. So I'm a layered thinker. So when you ask me that question, I've got several different things that it could be. And I mean, one of them is it could be true. One of them is it's not true, and somebody's looking for attention and fame and this and that. Somebody's trying to tear somebody down, regardless of Flashbang. And then the other side of my layered thinking is it's true. This did happen. Maybe they just don't care anymore, and they're just putting it out there. I honestly do not know. I do not know. I've never really seen full interviews with her, so it's really unfair for me to make too much comment about her personally, because I don't know her full story.
I mean, none of us really know, so all of it's just opinion. What do you think? What do you think that she's actually speaking up and getting it out so that the information is out before anything bad can happen?
The other thing that we got to look at is the 9 ladies in New York that accused governor there of things, and a lot of things that have come out lately. So is this all tied together? I don't know. I guess anything's possible, right? All of our shows, all platforms, pretty much opinion pieces, and we all give our opinion on things. And I just won't comment on this lady because I don't know her story. What I'll comment on is the blanketed whole abuse thing that's happened to women, children. I'm sure some men as well. It's out there, and I think it's real. I think people are and have been abused. I think people have been abducted, and I think there's a lot that we still don't know. And it's only my opinion, but I feel like it's very possible. Eventually, someday, a lot of things are going to come to light, and it's probably going to make us
Right.
sick to our stomach. Honestly,
Just even hearing about it from the beginning just made me sick to my stomach. It's not okay. It's just not okay. And I think I almost feel like that's why it's all coming out now, and why God, source, everybody's saying this is it. He's stepping forth to take care of what's going on. I think that could be the reason why, because of what's happening in that world, especially the children. The children, it's just messed up. It's just messed up. These women that they traffic, they impregnate them so that they can have a baby, you know, so they can have a free for all. These people are fucking sick.
I believe that's possible. Absolutely.
It's just I believe it's absolutely happening, and it has been happening for a long time. Jersey Girl, right? You dread the day when it all comes out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where we're gonna see things that you or can't unsee. That feeling, seeing things that you can't unsee.
Like the first time you catch your parents in the act. You can't unsee that.
We don't think it's quite that bad, but yeah. We've all been there.
Don't want to see that again.
We've all been there. You're like, oh man, now I have to go take a shower.
Yeah. Sorry, just trying to break it up a little bit and not make it so serious.
Robert, it is demonic shit. It is demonic shit. There's just zero freaking care for life of any kind. And we've been so desensitized. I was just thinking about this today, and I've thought about it many times over the past few years, how we've been so desensitized. When you remember when Columbine happened, and like everybody was just glued to the TV and just like this is horrible. This is just the most horrible thing I've ever, this is just terrible. And then they just keep happening. And the more that they keep happening and putting it on the news, you're just kind of like, God, that sucks. But you just move on with life. It's like we're just desensitized to it. That's the sixth one we've heard about. You just stop having that primal reaction of devastation. And I've noticed that over the years that, when those things happen, it's just like, God, that's terrible. But, it didn't happen to me. I have prayers to the family. We got shit to do, move on. And I've just noticed that over the years, how the first one was just devastating and everybody was watching everything about it and, just devastated. And then now it's just kind of like, you hear about another one. You're just like, oh, that sucks. Move on. Next.
It's kind of like the school situation. Columbine was the very first one that affected the whole nation. And now things happen, and you, like you said, you just kind of read about it, and you skim over it, and you go, "Thank God it wasn't my school, my kids' at school," and you just kind of you get desensitized to it. You just kind of move on, and that happens for sure. As just human beings, we get desensitized to things for sure.
It's sad. It's like a real thing. It's just like, whoa, then we got to think about what kind of people we are. Yeah, what kind of people we are, that we're just kind of, just a very well-known children's hospital, and people come from countries and their cultures are absolutely disgusting. Did you read that one? My daughter is a nurse at a very well-known Christian hospital. I'm
reading all the chat.
I don't know. I don't even know if I want to know more about that, but I am extremely intrigued. Yeah, I want to know the stories. I want to know the stories.
Well, Jersey Girl says, but it's forgotten and so quickly, and that bothers me. And you're right. I mean,
It is.
We do just go on about our lives, and we kind of just forget about it and wake up tomorrow and do the next thing. So how do we change that, Mandy? That's my question. How do we change people from being desensitized to it? Because this is my concern. I remember when all that stuff was going on, I'd have to turn the news off because that's all that was playing on the news was the doom and gloom, right?
Right.
And I don't like all that either. So how do we have a compromise? How do we find middle ground on all that to where we report stuff like that so people don't get desensitized, and we report it in a way that it makes sense and that it's not just doom and gloom all the time?
Well, one, you have, I think one, the mainstream needs to not exist anymore because they're really good at just they're not reporting the humanity side of it. It's the shock and awe. It's I'm going to tell you a story. And this was 20 years ago, 15, 17 years ago. My husband's, one of his really good childhood friends, kind of had issues throughout his life. And he and his wife had gotten in a fight, and he decided to pull a shotgun and shot her in the back in front of their children, and then realized what he had done and then took his own life. We heard this on the scanner. So we don't have a scanner anymore because it was a pretty devastating day. And so of course the news is going to pick that up. The news is going to pick that up, right? So this is a news story. We know the truth of what happened. And when I saw it reported on the news, and I cannot remember exactly how it was reported, but the way they reported it, you know, they zhuzhed it up a bit to make it worse. And it was like, I don't even know how the hell you could make that situation worse than what it was in its authenticity. But they did. And that was my first moment of going, I don't watch the news anymore. I don't pay attention to the news anymore, because it was like, it was how they worded it that made it more entertaining. That's how I could say it. Made it more entertaining for the viewers. And it's like, this is a horrible, horrible situation. The people, the family, the kids, everybody that's involved in this. Like, and how do you go and say you people are full of shit? Like, how could you possibly make a situation this bad any freaking worse than it was? And they did. They managed to do it. They managed to do it. So I don't listen to that bullshit. That for one. And that's all you ever hear. That's all you ever hear is the gloom and doom and gloom and doom and gloom and doom. And when people are addicted to drama, they're addicted to the drama because it literally triggers a reaction in your body. It's triggers like dopamines, like you can actually feel it in your body, the energy, the vibration in your body.
People definitely get off on drama for sure.
Absolutely.
It's an addiction. It's an adrenaline rush. You know, how can we cause chaos and turmoil? And then when they start seeing it actually manifest, and they kind of get off on it. You know, it's kind of like it's a little bit of an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, it triggers the body for sure when there's drama.
Let me respond. I want to respond to the chat real quick. So prayers to you, Isabella. God be with you today in your surgery. Love you, Isabella.
Has surgery today. Prayers for Isabella.
Love you. And then I want to respond to DK too. I have researched her, and so we're talking about the gal that you brought up. I researched her since her first interview with British Bird Lady that always claims to lead troops into the DUMBs. Neither are believable. In my book, I'm one made up story. I haven't heard either one of them really talk too much. I've seen him on CBC. I know he covers them quite a bit. I've seen him on that show, and I really don't didn't really pay attention to the interviews that he had on his show. But I can tell you this: any civilian that claims they're leading troops in a military exercise, I'm probably 99.9% sure I'm not going to believe that story. So on that, DK, I definitely agree with you on that. I'm not going to believe that story for 1 minute. And so I guess what you're trying to make as a point is, if that person is saying, putting stories like that out, and then has somebody tied to them that's claiming this other stuff, it makes it harder for you to believe either one of them. And I will tend to agree with you on that. That is definitely a concern and deserves scrutiny to try to get to the bottom of the true story. So I do agree with you on that. And Tim's got a question for you there, Mandy.
I think I'm gonna have to reach out to Pastor Dragonfly, because I want to know. I want to know the story. I want to know the story. I want to be able. I want to meet these people. I want to be able. I can pick up a whole lot better from people than watching them on a screen. I need to be in their presence. I need to feel their energy. I need to see their eyes. I need to feel that. I can usually pick it up pretty damn good.
I think Tim's got a good question.
And the mental issues that we arise from human trafficking being exposed to everyone. There must be a plan. Oh, how do we deal with society and the new mental issues that will arise? It's a scary thought to think, if once all these people are saved and rescued from that, how do you heal that? How do you fix that? That's a lot of people.
Well, here's how I respond to that question. I want to ask your viewers, you got 18 of them right now, and they're posting on the board. What's your guys' opinion on how we should deal with that? I think that's a great question, Tim. I mean, we got DK, we got Tim, we got Jersey Girl, we got Michelle. Welcome to the show this morning, Michelle. How do you guys think that should be dealt with? I'd like to see your comments on that, and then I'll comment myself on it. I'll be honest, I haven't really thought that through. I have not spent time on that because I got so much other stuff I'm focused on, but that's a great question, Tim.
And I've thought about that. I was like, how, if this all happens and plays out and comes out and they're saving all of these children, and like, what's life going to be like? What's life going to be like for them? What's like, how do we as a society help fix that? The damage is already done in their world. The damage is already done. So how do we fix that for the survivors? How do we fix it? How do we make it okay? There's not enough therapists in the world to be able to counsel these people through to live a normal life.
Well, Libby, I think, good morning, Libby. I think Libby has a great start to that question, which is much love and tons of prayers. Right. I think you would have to drown these people in love, for one, and lots of prayers, and then kind of go from there. Michelle says the med beds, they are arranging mental health for them.
I've heard that too.
I can't comment on med beds. I haven't seen enough. I haven't seen anything, to be honest with you, not even enough. I have seen nothing on the med beds. Now, it's possible that they're real. I just haven't seen anything. So it's hard for me to jump on that bandwagon where I say med beds are the answer and cure for everything. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I hope it's true. I pray it's true.
You know, there are days that it is just like, are we being drawn through, are we just being dragged by our noses down, just complete horseshit?
I ask myself that every day, every day, every day.
All of it. Everything that we're watching and seeing come about, and watching all of it. I spend days of hope, and then I spend days of going, are we just a bunch of freaking idiots?
Shane says, look up Tesla med beds, Google it. Michelle says they're making several. There are 118 now. Again, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying they're not real. I personally have not seen.
Thank you, Shane.
I mean, this is how I look at it, Shane. This is how I look at it. I can sit in my fucking basement. Sorry for the F word. I can sit in my basement for the next 3 weeks and smoke bowl after bowl and come up with some amazing inventions, write shit up on it, and then post it on the internet and say med bed, something like a med bed, and say it's real. Just because it's on the internet, in my opinion, doesn't mean it's technically real all the time. I'd actually like to see some proof that, someone I know went and used one and they were healed. Let me give you another example. We had a young lady call into the show, probably about 3 weeks ago, that claimed she's from Texas. A friend of hers got stabbed 7 times in Texas. And I heard that the med beds are in Texas and Florida. She claimed that she saw this person and they had been healed by the med bed. And, to me right there, okay, this is me and this is my brain. To me right there, I'd love to have that person on the show to give their story on the med beds. And still,
right,
until I saw the wounds and I could go back and actually, I don't know, my brain just thinks in a certain way that
skeptical of everything.
Well, we got to question everything. And the thing is we've been fed all this stuff. Let me tell you something. The left side lies and so does the right side.
Oh,
and
sure.
I just don't want to be taking advantage of and being led down a road of all this stuff and then turn around and find out that it's not true. And then I guess know that I never questioned it. So I question everything so that even if I form an opinion and I think the med beds are real and I find out later that they're not real, at least I can live with myself knowing that I tried to question it as much as possible, even though my opinion is I believe in them. If they come up not being real, at least I know I tried my damnedest to find out the truth. So even if I'm wrong, I still feel good about it. I don't want to be one of those people that I can post on the internet that the sky is red and everyone believes me and no one ever questions it. And then you really feel stupid because you walk outside and you realize the sky's been blue this whole time, but I told you it was red. So you got to be careful on the internet because the internet can also lead you the wrong direction too. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just trying to put it out there and make you guys think, question everything because there's so many lies out there. There's so much information, disinformation, and misinformation.
Who do you believe? But one thing that's interesting to me is the one side that's lying, and they're lying to hide. They're lying to hide things. The other side, if they're lying for hope and good things. You know what I mean? So what's the end game? What's the end game on that path? Yeah, Jersey
I mean,
girl. We're the ones.
One of the comments on the med beds is regrowing limbs. I've heard this. I've heard that it's capable of doing it. I heard that Tesla invented this. I guess my question is, okay, everyone says, this is where I get frustrated. Everyone says, well, this has to play out like a movie because they're afraid of how people will react to the truth, right? So here is my question I want you to ponder. If that is true, think about all the crazy MF Hollywood movies that we've been seeing for decades and everyone watches them, and you're telling me that of all those movies that have been out for decades, that this thing right here can't comprehend something as simple as a med bed, or that we've got prisons on Mars, or any of that crazy ass shit, or there's 9-foot aliens. There's 9-foot aliens having dinner with the president of the United States. You mean to tell me, after all the decades of the crazy ass movies that Hollywood's come out with and that we've seen, that we cannot process this stuff at this point? I call bullshit on that. If it's real, then let us see it.
That is very true. One, I think when it comes to the med beds, they have to be really delicate about that, because once they bring out med beds and say what they can do, they're going to be so overrun with people wanting to be healed that what the hell do you do? It has to be I would think,
take a ticket and stand in line.
Well, yes.
When I go to the DMV and I need tags on my car and there's 400 people in there ahead of me, what do? I walk over, I grab a ticket, and I stand in line and I wait for my turn. I mean, that's a simple concept, in my opinion.
But just think of how many of the masses, how many people that are suffering, that, and they've
been suffering for this long. What's one more day? What's one more month? I mean, take priority, I guess.
Gratification. They want it now. Like, oh my God, I've got a tumor and I have this much, I have this much time.
Well, move them to the front of the line. Move them to the front of the line.
And then it'll be mass pandemonium, and then the guy that has the wart that on his face that he wants removed is going to stab the guy who really needs the help, and then it's going to be a goddamn shit show. You freaking know what the hell we're kind of assholes as beings sometimes.
I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate right now. I'm just trying to create conversation and make people think. I believe med beds are possible, but until I see it in reality, my brain is never going to wrap itself around that and accept it fully until I see it.
DK Second Chin says, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But until I see a person go in with one leg and come out with two. It's true. I mean, it's true. Like we're going to,
you're not wrong.
With all the lies and shit we've been told, how do they expect us to believe anything? Like we have like what do you believe? What do you believe with all the shady shit that's been going on and the untruths that are being revealed and all of that? Who do you believe? Who do you trust? Who do you believe? I think that's where all of our frustrations come from. We want to know the information. We want to know what's going on. We just want the damn truth. Everybody, that's what everybody wants. It's just the damn truth. And what's the truth? You can see what they do with their propaganda, their lies, they're manipulating, watching on television, all of that kind of shit. How do we know the other side doesn't do the same exact thing? You know what I mean?
Here's my only one thing that I know is real. I know that salvation is real. I know God's real because he's worked in my life. And again, Shane's gonna throw the question out there because he always does. Well, Mike, you believe in God, but have you ever seen him? No, but I felt him. I felt him. I know he's there. I guess it's faith, right? It's faith. And then people are gonna say, well, why don't you have faith in the med beds? Because that's different to me. That's man-made, man-created. So that's a little bit harder for me to put full trust in, full belief in.
But how do you know it's not divinely inspired?
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not capable of being divinely inspired. But if you believe in Christ, and if you believe in the Bible, Christ healed the blind, raised the dead, and so.
Right.
If you believe in the good book, we have that same capability supposedly. So why do we need med beds? Just throwing that out there.
Big issue. I do. I feel that's why everybody is just getting like so frustrated. I think that's why everybody's getting so frustrated because all of this information is coming out. It's just it's every day you're reading. I'm reading something about trafficking or med beds or the glory on the other side. Like I read crap all the time about everything that's going on. We just want some tangible proof. Because once we get some tangible proof, I think we can actually take a breath and accept the next step. And what's the next step? What the hell's the next step?
Let me throw this at you.
That too.
Let me throw this at you, Mandy. And I've heard this from other people. What if part of the plan is to give us and hey, take this for what it is, okay? Take this for what it is. What if part of the plan is to give us all this crazy stuff that supposedly is real for us to sit there and keep throwing it out there to make us look crazy so no one will believe us? And that's why I personally, I let people come on my show all the time and talk about whatever they want. That doesn't mean I believe what they're saying. That doesn't mean I align with 100% of what they're trying to get out. I mean, I could have a flat earther come on my show and I could agree with certain points of a flat earther, but I can tell you right now, I don't believe in the flat earth theory. So, but I think it's entertaining, it's informational, it gives you a different perspective. Right. So in saying that, what I try to focus personally, myself, Mike, every day is my battle is to take back our country one step at a time at our local level, working our way up. Med beds and all this other shit is just distractions and other entertainment that's out there. So my question is, what if part of the plan is to make us look crazy and distract us to where we're not doing what I feel needs to be done, which is fighting the battle in our backyard? And that is going to be my mission from now until the day I die. I don't really give a rat's ass about med beds or any of this other crazy nonsense. It's our backyard battle. Now, med beds and all the rest of it, if that stuff comes true, then great. That's awesome. I hope it helps millions and millions of people. But I want to stay focused on the issues at hand, which is our corrupt government, and how do we make that difference, period.
Trying to think of the words. I'm trying to think of the word that I'm trying to use.
Are you going to bitch slap me right now?
No. Because that is that's that tangible thing. Like what you're talking about, like that's the tangible thing in the world. Like you can physically touch, see, help, interact with, that kind of thing. But how come it's always so difficult to expand our minds to something bigger? Why is it always so difficult for all of us to always? I don't believe like something's going to come in and just save us all. I think that there is things at play. I think there are people at work that are trying to eradicate everything that's going on that shit that we don't even know about. The real life, the real world stuff, the real, the trafficking, the corruption in the government, all of that kind of stuff. Like that's in our real world. That's what we can see. Like we can touch it. It's tangible. And it's so hard to wrap that stuff. We can actually do something about, I guess. I don't know. Like we can physically do something about it. But where does all the other stuff come into play? Is that just there for hope? Is that just there for
distraction?
Entertainment? Is it a distraction? Is it, you think of when they're talking about the banking system and how it all has to change and that this NESARA is going to happen. Well, how do you know it's not going to take all of our money and put it in this electrical or this other realm where we're going to even be 10 times more controlled?
That's a very valid question, and I think you have a very valid point too. How come we can't expand our minds to believe some of this? So this is how I do it: layered thinking, but I compartment.
How many layers can you take, though?
A lot of layers. But what I do is I group med beds and all this other stuff, aliens, all this shit, into a place over here, and I table it, and I can come back to it. I can talk about it. I can comment on it. But it's not my life. It's not. I don't wake up every morning and start dreaming about med beds, to gain an inch here or there. I just or maybe some hair on top of my head. I don't know, but I just got to fight what's in front of me, and what's in front of me is evil. Evil, and they're destroying our country. So I want to unite with all platforms, with all Americans, and fight what we can fight. And the med beds and all that stuff.
It's kind of a secondary thing. We have other shit.
It's a secondary thing to me. I don't take my platform and design it around med beds or any of that other stuff. I love the entertainment of it. I love the possibility that it's true. I love all that stuff. I love finding out the information about it. I love hearing people's comments about it, but that's not what my platform is about. My platform is trying to always get to the truth, whatever that truth may be. And I think I get wrapped up and roped up and put in categories with other people like that are out there with their platforms that talk about this stuff all the time, and they truly 100% believe in it, and that's great. That's their right to do that. But me, I want to talk about how we take the country back for real and not just dream about it.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, something has to happen, and I think that things are happening. We just what we do, like, I think just doing what we're doing here, just sit around and bullshit about it and talk about it and come with some clarity, because we're having all these discussions about this kind of stuff, but nobody really has any proof on it. Nobody has any proof on it. There's no proof, but there is proof on, the fraud. Starts with an A, ends with a T.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's really happening. Like, that's
tangible. That's
right
tangible. Now. That's what we can all agree. That's what we can all agree, even across party lines, and even people who don't like my show. Right. I think we can all agree that that's real. It's happened, and hopefully we're going to get to the bottom of it, and then we can make decisions on how we handle it from there. So that's me personally. That's what I like to focus on. But I enjoy all the other stuff too. So don't get me wrong.
Right.
I love having people come on the show.
This is the way I work, and I don't know. I would assume most people work that way. Like, when there's an issue and there's a problem and there's something going on and you're trying to fix it, you to fix this. Let's focus on this and fix this, and then we can move on to the next thing and work together and fix that. And that's how things get done. But it's just so freaking all over the place that it's just like, where do we put our hearts and our minds? There's enough people to, help work towards and fix the trafficking side of things. And then there's people that can work on, your backyard battles and those kinds of things. I mean, like how do we do it? There's so much going on. There's so many different entities going on that you're just like, they're being exposed. Like, all the evils are being exposed. You can see it, and I think that's why the bad guys have been at play for a long, long time, and there have been attempts to expose the shit that they're doing for a long, long time, and it's always been thwarted. Like, it's always been stopped. Like, it's where the truth never gets to come out. They take care of it. And I'm wondering if that's why all of this is coming out so much, so hard, so fast. All of this information is coming out as hard and as fast as it can so that people can't unsee it. So people can't not hear it.
That's a good
We've
point.
heard it, we've seen it, and they're like, this is our one and only shot. That's what they're saying. This is our only shot right here. We have to take care of it right now, all of it, or we're done. We're done. So I'm wondering if that's why all this information is coming out so hard and fast, so that it is within our ears and our minds and our hearts, and we're thinking about it and we're talking about it. All of it has to come out, so all of it can be exposed, because you cannot put that rabbit back in that. You cannot. Now that it's out there and everybody's talking about it, you can't bring that back and go.
You can't put it back in Pandora's box. That's for sure.
You can't do it. And I'm wondering if that's why it's all like, there's so many different things that are being exposed all at one time, because they're like, this is our one and only shot and we need to let it rip, so that everything is out there. Discussions are being had, so that just like that. I've heard about that. Oh, the ones that are still really asleep. I've heard about that. What's that about? You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't put it back. Once it's all out there and everybody's talking, you can't go rewind it. I'm wondering if that's why it's all coming in.
Jersey,
and that's why we're paying attention. It's a lot.
Yeah, Jersey Girl had a good question. I hit something wrong. Jersey Girl had a great question there for a minute. It was something, I lost it. It's off my screen. I don't know how to get it back. It's off my screen. But her question was, she lives in a very liberal community, and she doesn't feel like she can talk to these people about some of what we're discussing right now, whether it be the med bed stuff or even audits or anything like that. So how would we approach a conversation like that if we were surrounded in an area like that, where it was damn near impossible even to have any kind of dialogue with anyone?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I mean, my sweet little neighbor lady that I tried to talk to about how things aren't adding up with this whole vid thing, and things are just not adding up. Now she hates my guts. I love her, and I told her, I said, I love you no matter what our views are. I still love you. Well, she still hates me. And I mean, what do you do? We can only do so much. You can only do so much and love one another so much. And, and if people don't want to have a discussion, that's just where it lies. That's just where it lies. You have we can't save everybody. We can't save everybody. And let me just put it this way. The other side, I don't see what they're offering. I don't see what they're bringing to the table.
I think everyone can bring something to the table. Every person. I
do. But most that I encountered, there's no discussion. It's just screaming, this is what it is. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how do we have a discussion? How do we have a discussion about it? There's no discussion. They're not offering anything. They never offer me anything to make my brain go, oh, let me look into that. That's so intriguing to me. Maybe I need to look into that. I haven't heard that angle before. They don't get it. We're the devil, and they just scream in our face and hate us, and that's just the way it is. Or I'm being victimized, curl up in a ball, you're abusing me. What do you do? I've encountered that too, where it's just like, I'm just talking like, oh my God. You want to know what it feels like to be attacked? I'll show you what it feels like to be attacked.
Well, here's my opinion.
You can't misinterpret it when somebody's pissed and angry and in your face, or someone who's just having a conversation with you. That's a distinct difference.
Here's my opinion of that situation. So here you go, Jersey Girl. I'm going to lay it down for you. And it doesn't mean I'm right, but I'm going to lay it down. So Lisa, our best friend Lisa, helped me with this years and years and years ago. And then Charla, right there in your hometown. When I was dating her, her whole family is Democrat, and they would have conversation and dialogue, but they would definitely get very emotional about it. But when I was with Lisa camping and we had those conversations, Lisa was very calm, loving, and understanding and open-minded. So she taught me years ago that it is possible. So this is how I would handle it, Jersey Girl. If these are people that you would, I guess, invite to your home for a backyard barbecue, and these are people that are, I guess, capable enough of actually just showing up for that and not hating on you because you're conservative or whatever you claim to be, then I would say, and my mom taught me this a long time ago, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So what I learned with Lisa was it was how I interacted with these people on as a person myself. So if it was me and I could have a barbecue in the backyard and I could invite these people to my house, one or two or three at a time, then I would just gently, gently strike up the conversation of, how can we have dialogue in maybe what's going on in our country right now? And I would always let them go first. And the key is validating the conversation. So if you let them go first and they tell you, well, this is what I think is the problem in the country right now. One, the key is instead of you worrying about what you're going to say next, because a lot of people do that. They're always in their mind processing, well, they just said that this is a problem, so this is how I'm going to fix it in my head. You're not even listening to the rest of the conversation. So you have to stop thinking about what you're going to say, listen to what they're saying, and then in return, validate it by repeating back to them, well, Mandy just said the problem with her car is it's making this knocking sound and it's rumbling when she's driving down the road and blah, 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 blah. And then I repeat that back to her so that she knows that I actually heard the conversation. And then at that point, I can come up with my way of fixing that problem. So then you get to respond to them. And again, kindness, being gentle, soft-spoken, those things really go a long way in opening dialogue with people. I mean, I had Travis on 2 nights ago from CBC, and I showed him respect. He showed me respect. He didn't align with everything that we were talking about, but what I found was we do have a lot of common ground. And I think you'll find with even liberals and Democrats, if they're true American patriots, they still want the best for our country. I truly believe that. I believe wholeheartedly they still want what's best for our country. Now, does that mean that the way they go about it is the right way? Probably not, in a lot of cases. But if you want that dialogue, that's just what I suggest. Now, where you take it from there is truly up to you and your guest. So good luck to you. I know it's a hard road to hoe, but that's the only suggestion I could give you.
We have to, there's a way to communicate so that people are understanding one another. And I don't know. I try to choose my battles, and I'm going to talk about a situation, and this is how it happened. It was with my mother-in-law, God bless her. But we had a situation, there was some friction there, and I kind of confronted her on it, and she absolutely just blew up in my face. Like, I'm standing in a public place, and she just literally just ripped my face off. The level of disrespect was unbelievable, and then storms away. So in my head, I'm thinking, how do I handle this situation? Because my ego in me is telling me that I want to just run right after her and just throttle her. That was what my ego was saying. But my true self was saying, this is somebody that's family. This is somebody that you're going to have to spend time with outside of here. You know, if you go about it this way, nothing's going to be resolved. It's going to be a bigger issue. So I had to step back, take some time, slow my roll a little bit, and then talk to her on a, you can't be accusatory. You can't be in their face because nobody listens. You can't have communication when somebody's fighting their view, fighting their side, fighting their belief in it. there can be no discussion. Because when somebody comes at you like that, then you just immediately have that wall. You immediately have that wall that goes, nope, you're in defense mode. You want to defend what your side of the issue is. And nothing gets resolved. No communication is had. So when I calm down, I could be the bigger person. She's a little emotional. You know, she doesn't fly off the handle. God love her. But I could be the bigger person and be like, okay, this has to be resolved. This has to be discussed. And it has to be resolved in a mature manner. So when we sat down and we talked, there was no, you've done this, because I know the second if I would have went at her like that, she would have shut down and would have been in immediate defense mode. And that's kind of where we're at in all of this is we have to be able to remove our ego. That's what I'm trying to say. Remove our ego that we have, that is that unreal thing that we've created to protect ourselves in our lives. That ego. I'm not going to lose. I'm right. I'm going to win. We all have that little thing inside of us that's just like you're not going to. We all have that. So when we try to have communication when it comes to heavy stuff that's going on in the world right now, we have to learn sometimes maybe you have to be the bigger person and just kind of step back and let them flip out, do their thing, scream and holler, and just still be in there in that space of love and just be like, okay, are you done? Okay, now we can talk. Sometimes you have to let them get that out of their system. Sometimes
I want to add to that comment. Absolutely, I think you need to take the ego out of it. This is my frustration. This is my frustration, and I'm sure Jersey Girl can agree with me on this. My frustration is why do we always have to give in? Why do we always have to be the bigger person? Right? That is a frustration of mine. Okay. And with that being said, I feel like you have to take your ego out. And the biggest, this is my biggest advice to anyone, is quit always trying to be right. Whether you're right or not, quit always thinking you have to be right in the conversation. Because once you feel like you have to be right and that you want to prove that you're right to those people, it puts them on their heels and it puts them on the defense. And now they're going to go on the attack with you. So plant the seed and hope grows. Absolutely, Robert. So when you're having those conversations, yes, I agree with the statement that they're not always reasonable. But listen, I've got conservative friends, and I got one really close to me who's not reasonable either. They're always wanting to get their point across. They're always wanting to be right. They're always wanting to put Democrats in their place.
So when I say us, that's all of us as humanity, not liberals or anything. It's all of us have to. When you're confronting and talking to somebody who is in that, like, I'm right, that I'm going to be, sometimes we have to just, you can feel it, that energy inside of you that's just like immediate, that's your ego. Recognize it and just step back and just let them buzz around like a fly that's dying. Just let them do it. Because then they're going to wear out and then you can go forth with the conversation.
But the one thing that I will not put up with is I'm not going to deal with yelling and screaming people in my face or disrespect. But nope. I don't feel like even 90% of the liberals are that way. Those are just the extremists that you see on TV, the BLM and the AFTA, that like to get the mega horns and they'll go out there and just yell and scream in people's face. Those are paid actors. Those are people purposely in those places to create chaos, to cause all that stuff. I think most people are human enough to sit down and have somewhat of conversation with you. But again, it's your job. It's your job to steer that conversation in a manner that's kind and open-minded and respectful, and not always being the person that has to be right. That's the best advice I can give you. That doesn't mean every conversation you're going to have is going to turn out the way that you want it to turn out. You've got to be willing to accept. You've got to be willing to accept, to let go. You've got to be willing to accept, you know what, I just can't have a adult conversation with this person, so I'm going to move on to the next one. But I guess my my hope for you, Jersey girl, and all of you out there is don't give up. Don't give up because you have one bad conversation. Don't give up because you have 10 bad conversations. Don't give up because you have 100 bad conversations with people who don't want to listen, because there's always going to be that one person that will be open-minded, that will let you in, that will give you the opportunity to try to give facts over fiction. And I see what Shepard's saying. So you want them to research it, but they won't, and I give up. I get that. But plant the seed. Realize that you have to plant the seed sometimes too. You can't expect to go in there and harvest the conversation from start to finish in an hour. You may have to just drop little seeds here and there, walk off, let it grow, come back a week later at another barbecue, maybe pick up where you left off, and they've gotten time to kind of chew on that and process it. And so some of these conversations aren't a one-time conversation. These conversations might be months of conversations before you can make an actual difference. So patience is a virtue. And a lot of these people, you got to realize, have been programmed since the time they popped out. So having a 1 hour conversation at a barbecue, trying to get your point across and convincing somebody your side of things, I think is unrealistic. So you got to be realistic. You got to think about this. It's something that's going to take time.
It actually, well, our whole existence has been brainwashing. It's going to take some time to undo all of that programming that we've all been through. And that's a comfort zone for them. This learning all this and waking up to all this is not comfortable. This is not a comfortable thing to be going through, the waking up and learning more and more and more and more. It's not a comfortable thing. They're just like, that's too much shit, and I don't want to know about it. They don't want to, a lot of people, they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to be when like, oh my God.
Nobody wants to be wrong. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be wrong.
No. Nobody does. But why? Why do we do that? Why do we have that? I don't want to be wrong. Because wrong's a bad thing. We've been taught like is wrong a bad thing.
Yeah, I think you grow when you're wrong. I really do. I think if you can accept that you're wrong, then you're growing as a person. And then you realize that you're not perfect, and that you're capable of accepting that and moving on. And that makes you stronger. It doesn't make you weaker. If you're wrong, you're not weak. You're just maybe misinformed. Maybe.
Zero in yourself, when you recognize it and you understand it and what triggers it, it is the most freeing thing on the planet. It is the most freeing thing on the planet when you can recognize it, when you're in a situation, when you feel like that, I got to defend myself, I got to protect myself, that's your ego in you. So pay attention to the situations that you're in or the conversations that you're in that trigger that. Go silent, go within, and figure out why. Because that stems from something that triggered. Your mom always made you feel that way. Or you had a teacher that made you feel that way, that was traumatic, and it stuck with you, and you carried that. It goes so deep. And when we start recognizing that stuff in ourselves, we start to lose that ego. We start to lose that I have to be right. I have to protect and defend myself, and what I say is right, because that's what I believe. They're doing the same thing. I mean, it's just when you confront others, let's just say this. I'm not going to go, this is information and y'all need to wake up, because if they came at me the same way, I'd be like, bitch, shut up. You know exactly we would do the same thing. So where do you find that middle ground? Talking to somebody else in a conversation, and let the other person step in and be like, what the hell are you guys talking about? What are you talking about? And be delicate about it. Don't be this is truth, this is gospel, you need to wake the hell up. A lot of people, I think that's a trigger statement to people. You need to wake up.
Absolutely. You need to wake up is definitely a trigger.
That's a trigger statement to somebody. What the hell do you mean I got to wake up? That's telling them you're asleep.
You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Yeah. You're telling them right to their face, you're wrong. You need to wake up. Let me make 3 more points. I agree with you 100% on trying, and I'm guilty of this. Listen, I'm guilty of this. I'm an imperfect man. I am a sinner. I have to ask for forgiveness every day from our Lord. But you have to try to be the cooler head in the situation, right? And I'm guilty of this. Let me give you a prime example. DK just said that you can't go in with your guns a-blazing. I totally agree with that statement because I made a huge mistake when I was in California, and you guys can go on the channel and watch it. So we got to the school where the kids were receiving vacations and their parents were driving them to the school and marching them in. And I got out of my vehicle, I grabbed my camera and all my equipment, and I was so emotional about the situation. Sometimes you gotta take emotion out of it and plug in logic, right? So I was so emotional. I got out of my vehicle, grabbed my equipment, grabbed my camera, started fast pacing it to the back of the school. And when I got there, I went in with both my 6-shooters, guns a-blazing, smoke coming out of the barrel, calling them communists, just going at it absolutely the wrong way. And what did that get me? What that got me was the principal came out and he demanded that I leave the property. So, of course, I did what I was asked. I left the property and I thought about it for 20 minutes or so, and I turned around and I came back. When I came back, I had a different attitude. I was kind, I was quiet, I wasn't rude, and he allowed me to stay there and video for at least 30 minutes. So guns a-blazing is not the right tactic when you're trying to communicate with people and have an honest conversation. And Tracy, Shepherd of the Forest, is saying, well, my husband just won't listen to any of it. Listen, some people are not going to listen to you. They're mute to your voice, Tracy. I don't know how long you've been married to your husband. I don't know how many arguments you guys have had over your marriage, but sometimes it takes someone else to reach them, is my point. Sometimes it may take someone else other than you, Tracy, to reach your husband or your son or whoever. And that's just my advice. I'm not a professional at anything, and I mess up every day. But those are the points that I'd like to make to you guys when you're out there trying to have dialogue with people. CBC, those people are actually a little more open-minded than I even thought at one time. So, and they're in here in the chat right now, and they're having dialogue with us right now. They're talking, they're giving us their opinion, and we can't shut people out just because they think differently or that they're from a different background than us. That's what makes us all so great, is we all are different. And I think everyone has something to offer. I think everyone has something to bring to the table. So I think it's imperative that we listen to their voice.
Right. And you're right, Robert. He says sometimes it takes a long time, even years. Just think about all those people that have been trying to tell everybody about this for years and nobody listened to them. I bet this is a vindication for all of them going, Jesus, finally you guys are all waking up and you're all talking about shit like it's new. You know what I mean? I'm sure that's pretty frustrating for the ones that have been in this world for a little while. We appreciate you paving the way. We appreciate your knowledge and, digging into all of this stuff over all these years when we were just not paying attention. I can honestly say I was one of those that just wasn't paying attention. I just didn't pay attention. And now that I'm paying attention, it's a lot of stuff to think about and process in just a couple short years. You guys have been doing it for 40, 50 years. You guys have been doing it for a long time. And we appreciate your efforts and the work that you all have done. I'm sure this is a very happy time for you to be like, finally they see it, finally. And we do. And I think maybe people like us that are just recently awakened going, we're kind of, going full bore, just trying to get everybody to learn what we learned and, trying to wake others up in a space of wanting to help, we just want to help. We all need to be on the same page.
Absolutely. I want to say good morning to Deanna, and yes, your husband is a wonderful man, and yes, sometimes they need to to hear it from different people, but also keep this in mind, folks. And again, I kind of sound like Dr. Phil this morning, which I am not, but everyone has a different pace. And it's funny because I just had this conversation with my dad this morning, and he said he's been reading his devotions, and it's talking about things that need to get done. And I joked around about him, and I said, well, maybe your morning devotions are trying to tell you need to pick the pace up. And what I have to realize with my father is his pace is different than mine. People's attention span are different.
Mike.
You know, I mean, there's so many different pieces to the puzzle for each and every one of us that some of us maybe learn at a quicker pace, and maybe we believe a lot easier than some people, which can be a strength and a fault at the same time. So just remember that when you're having these conversations with people, not everyone is as fast paced as others, and it's a different race for each individual person. So keep that in mind. Just because they're not keeping up with you in the conversation or they believe like you do doesn't mean they're necessarily wrong. It just may take them. I ran track and I sucked at it. I was always last, and there was people way faster than me. Okay, well, there you go. That's how conversations can be. That's how people's personalities are. So just keep that in mind.
Right. Jersey girl, but most people don't want to deal with it, and if it's not affecting them directly. I can see how this is going to work, and I can't see the people around me opening their eyes no matter what you show them. And you know what? The way I kind of feel about how I feel about that, some people don't want to know, some people don't want to listen. And when it all comes out and the truth comes out, that's where our job comes in, to kind of pick them up and kind of help them through. Because I think when all of this comes to them at a rapid pace, and they get all of this information at a rapid pace, it's going to be a pretty traumatic time for them. It's going to be a pretty traumatic, humbling time for them. And, you know, it's going to take people like us to be like, okay, you know, we tried to tell you, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. You know, that's why we've been paying attention, so we weren't surprised like we are right now, like you're going through right now. We've had the last 2 years, or however long your awakening has been. I've had the last 2 years to research, listen, pay attention, talk with groups like this, to process and get through all the crazy shit that's happening that we're waking up to. They're going to get theirs all in one dose.
Yeah.
They're going to get theirs all in one dose, and it's going to be pretty. I couldn't even imagine getting all this information all at one time, going, whoa, shit. Where the hell was I through all of this? With my fingers in my ears, I don't want to listen. It's going to be a traumatic time for people. And then we have to show our hearts and help pick them up off the ground.
Yes.
I think that's where that.
And Shepherd, I am by far not a doctor, and I make major mistakes every day. All I can tell you is in a conversation, I fail a lot of times, and sometimes you got to recognize your strengths and your weaknesses. And if the conversation is in a position that no one is going to get anything from it, then you may have to disengage. There's times where I'm too emotional and I just disengage, and I go to a place where I can cool off and then come back later and talk about it. And that is me trying to learn myself to where I don't hurt people in a conversation because I use my emotions instead of my logic to think through things and try to come up with an understanding of how they're feeling and where they're coming from, instead of going in with your guns a-blazing and your emotions are running high like I did in California, and I got nowhere. I hurt myself. I hurt the cause. I felt bad for Deanna and Elaine and the rest of the folks that showed up because I was ineffective. And if you're ineffective in a conversation, communicating with people, then it's just a losing battle from the start. So you got to learn how to be effective in conversation. And and Shane and the finger. I'm not perfect, man. I am not a Dr. Phil. It's just for some reason, this conversation for some reason, the conversation and the topic that we're on right now, I just kind of feel a flow. Like there's something that I need to just get out to everyone. And I feel like it's maybe going to help somebody in a conversation. So I guess I am Dr. Phil for the moment. It just makes sense to me. If you cannot be effective in the conversation, then step back. Maybe let someone else take a chance, or maybe just go grab a person to drink at the barbecue and say, "Hey, let me go grab you a beer real quick," and defuse the situation and let them have a cool off period, And that's the only advice that I can give you guys. And I don't act for.
Yeah, nobody listens when there's too much emotion. Just think about how you would like somebody to approach you about a discussion. How would you respond? That's kind of how I do it. I don't want somebody coming at me like that, so why I'm going to go at somebody else like that. It's just, and you just learn a lot from people when you encounter them. I prefer to be in person with people. That way I can see their eyes and feel their emotion, and I can tell if I've overstepped it, and I can feel their emotion, and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to step back a little bit and give them space to process and tell them, like, I'm sorry, and like, I didn't mean to make you feel that way, or you can. And that goes a long way. That goes a long way when people like come at you with they want to fight. They want that battle. They want that. If you meet them with that same kind of energy, it's on. Now, if you step back and you don't meet them with that kind of energy, I'm going to be cheesy with love and be like, dude, like, oh, it's okay. If you meet them with that, it totally diffuses that energy of anger in them. It totally just diffuses it. And they'll backpedal and be like, whoa, shit, okay, I'm going out this the wrong way. But if you meet them with that same energy,
I'll give you four words in a phrase that also can defuse the situation. I understand what you're saying. Oh, 5 words. 5 words. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying is a way that you can validate that person and not totally agree with them. You're not agreeing with what they're saying, but what you're doing is you're validating what they just said in the conversation and say, I understand what you're saying. That doesn't mean I have to agree with it, but I understand what you're saying, and that keeps the conversation going. But let me give you another prime Mike example of how I had an epic fail in California. We were heading north to the Trees of Mystery for Noah's birthday, and we were getting hungry. So in Trinidad, there's a couple of grocery stores and restaurants there that we wanted to stop and try to grab a bite to eat. We pulled up, and the first 2 places were super packed. So we decided we're going to the grocery store, and Elaine and Justin both already told me what to expect. Well, if you go in there without a diaper on your face, they're going to attack you, this, that, and the other. So I had already formed an opinion, already formed an attitude before I even walked through those doors. And as soon as I walked through the doors, exactly what they told me was going to happen. But where I failed was I already was an emotional. I was already preset and looking for a fight when I walked through the door. So when I walked through the door and they attacked me, what did I do? I butted heads. I turned right around. I told them what I thought. I was rude. I wasn't open to hearing what they had to say because they, in my mind, were already wrong. And I failed in that situation because maybe if I would have blocked out what they told me was going to happen and just been open-minded when I walked through there and tried to open dialogue with these people and tried to talk to them, maybe the situation would have turned out different. But in that same sentence, maybe it wouldn't have, because maybe they would have continued to attack me anyway and yell and scream at me. But I didn't give them that opportunity, right? I didn't give them the opportunity to have a simple conversation with me because Elaine is so cool and calm. She can sit there in a tone and just talk. I mean, I'm getting wound up just talking about this. My tone is rising. My emotion is already rising. I can feel my blood pressure go up, remembering what had happened in that store. And that is the wrong thing to do when you're trying to have a real conversation with people. I was wrong.
Yeah, because you went in waiting for a confrontation.
I expected it.
So that energy, the other energy matched your energy. You went in with that. That's
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now I'm not
that's
saying that they still wouldn't have attacked me, and then I would have turned and matched their energy and got angry and did exactly what I did, but I didn't give them the opportunity to show me that that's the reaction that required that situation. I went in there preformed, peacock, chest sticking out, and ready to duke it out with these assholes.
right. I mean, you got to choose your battles, right? You got to choose your battles. I try to go in. Let me say this: I will never do the first strike. I will never speak to another human being in a poor manner. You have to push me to that point. It's like, oh, that's how this is going to go. All right, and I will. I'll never go in a disrespectful manner. But if you put me in that place where I have to be in that space, I will go there for sure. It's like, oh, that's how we're going to do it. I don't know. I just have a way I can do it, and then I can diffuse it with conversation. Because I'm just one of those people that's like, we're not walking out of here until this is fixed. Until this is, especially people that you love. I mean, there's people in life that you're just kind of like, if I don't see you ever again, it's no big sweat off my ass. But when it's family, people you love, people that you spend a lot of time with, those kinds of things, choose those battles. And I'm the kind of person that's like, oh, we're going to fight it out today. All right. We're going to fight it out, but you damn well better be completely truthful. And I'm going to be blatantly truthful. And we're going to walk out of this loving one another. Or, I'm the kind of person, we're either going to hug it out or we're going to fight it out. But either way, this shit show isn't happening anymore. It's just not going to happen. I do not live a life of that kind of trauma and toxic bullshit in my world. I just don't. So if there's an entity in my life that is a creator of that, they have a choice, and we're going to talk it out. That goes bye-bye, and you don't get to play with us anymore if you keep that shit up. That's just the way I am, because I do not live a life like that. I don't. My husband and I, we don't fight and argue and bicker and snip at each other. We just don't, because I refuse to have that in my. We have discussions about things. Sometimes you have those moments where, I told you and you told me kind of thing, but it's nothing but just respect for one another. And I do not have that in my life, in my home. I don't act that way. I damn well expect people in my life and around me to not act that way. And if you act that way, I'm going to see it, and then we're going to discuss it. We're going to have a discussion about it. So that's just the way I go in my life. I'm never going to go up to somebody and be like, you need to get your head out of your ass, but if you're talking out your ass, it's like, we're going to have a conversation. Like, maybe you need to educate yourself just a little bit more on the situation. Let's do it together. I could be wrong. Who the hell knows? But
I could be wrong too. I definitely could be wrong about. I could be wrong about a lot of things, and I'll admit it when I am. But I got to bounce. So just hold on a second. I got to bounce. I think the conversation has been excellent this morning. Thank you for inviting me on. But I want to leave the show. I want to leave the show with a comment for DK and 2 points that I want to make real quick. So DK, absolutely. And listen to this. I heard a lot of things about CBC, and I went on and watched because I wanted to form my own opinion. And I think if you allow people to form opinions for you, that can really cripple and destroy communication between people if you already got a set mind on how you think they are, when really you have no freaking clue who they are, because you haven't given them the opportunity to show that to you. So, yeah, I'm glad that I can look at things through a different lens and try to give people the opportunity to prove me wrong or prove me right and form my own opinion. So with that being said, I want to leave your audience with these 2 things. God says, love thy neighbor. And he also says, treat people how you would like to be treated. And I think if you use those 2 golden rules in any kind of conversation, I honestly think you'll have some good results with that. Not 100%, but I truly believe you'll have some good results in any communication you have with anyone on this earth if you just love thy neighbor and then treat people how you want to be treated. If you step up and be that person that shows it first, I think you're now leading the charge in the conversation, and they'll follow you.
Oh, Jersey girl, you're so sweet. That's just what we do. What's we want? We want to help everybody. We want to help everybody flow through life and like try to find some healing within our hearts and our minds. And that's kind of where it all begins, is in our hearts and our own minds and who we are in this world and how we treat one another. And sometimes people are out of control and they aren't going to change and they don't want to change. And sometimes it takes us to be the bigger people. Sometimes it takes us to be the bigger people and quiet our egos and do our best to bring peace to all that's going on, or some clarity of some sort.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's what we do. That's what I do anyways. I can't speak for Mike, but that's what I do. And when I see suffering in another human being, I want to know their story. I want to know what they're suffering with. I want to know what they're struggling with and how I can help them go within and find a better way for them, because we've kind of been trained to be a specific way, and that's not working. It's not working anymore. And my journey going within has changed my life entirely and completely, and the miracles that have come from it. It's a beautiful thing, and if I can share that with others to, especially right now in our day and age right now with everything that's going on, if we can go through it in a more beautiful way, and that's what I'm here to do. That's what we're supposed to do.
Absolutely. Love conquers all. Remember that, folks. Love conquers all. Love you guys. Deanna, Miss Beth, Tracy, DK, the other Tracy, Shepherd of the Forest, Robert. I know I'm missing people. I can't see you all on my screen, but thank you so much for showing up today to the Awakened Patriot and having coffee and talk with us. I love all of you guys. God bless every one of you guys. God bless you, Mandy. I'm looking forward to where this show goes.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you all being here with us this morning. And it just kind of there was no plan. It just went that way, and I'm so happy that it went the way it did today. So thanks for riding the ride with us. We appreciate all of you. Big loves to everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Big loves. Make good choices. Love one another. That's all we can ask. Bye, guys.
Bye. Love you guys. Love you, Mandy.
Love you too, Beth. It's not gonna let me end my stream. Like, no. Right. Oh, for Pete's sakes. Hang in there, y'all. I'm stuck. Okay, there we go. All right.